If you're an online seller like me, don't fail and make the same 10 mistakes I've made while selling things online. Let's get right into these mistakes and just start out with number 1. The first mistake is to not poorly package any items. What I mean by this is don't package something in too big of a packaging and don't package it in too small of packaging. Those are both problems, and the reason is because if you package something with larger materials, if it's greater than a first-class package, it will weigh more and it will have greater dimensions, which means it will cost more in shipping. Not only does your shipping price increase, but your cost of materials increase. Selling things and mailing them in a smaller package that's really tight and condensed, that's a problem. No matter if you sell 1 item or 1,000 items, don't mail something in too small of packaging. Don't cram something in there because then it will most likely get damaged in shipping because it will be handled, and it could likely you could damage the actual contents that you're mailing to somebody when you're packaging it. If you're really stuffing stuff in there, packaging it tight, that's not good. It should be freely able to be removed. Think about when you're opening a package, would you want to receive it if you're really having to rip it out of there? No. You want something where you open it, you take out some packaging, and boom, there's your item. Awesome. Now that we just talked about packaging something too small and it could possibly damage it, mistake number 2 is damaged goods. Damaged goods could come from things that get damaged in the mail from the actual shipping company. You know, we've seen videos like this where they just throw a TV and then you're like, hey, my TV is destroyed. Obviously, things get handled, they get moved around, they get pushed. I mean, even, luggage on an airplane gets just shoved. However, we can do a better job as sellers to make sure something is packaged accordingly. That way, if we do drop the box or it gets, tossed around a bit, it will be okay. Expect your package to get thrown around a bit. Even if you're putting fragile stickers everywhere, don't bother unless it's glass. If you are mailing a glass vase or something like that, I don't actually have a lot of information for you. I'm sorry. Please check out another video. But with packaging in general, don't skimp on materials. Buy some bubble wrap or do what I do. I save all the packaging materials I receive when I purchase things. I save paper when Lego sends me sets that, because they package it with paper. I save bubble wrap when I'm purchasing things on eBay or from other sellers that use the bubble wrap. And then lastly, I also save all the shipping bubbles I receive when I place orders through Amazon or Walmart or Target. Those are great for packaging items. You can reuse materials, reduce, reuse, recycle, baby. Yeah. If you reuse materials, it saves you money. It's reusing those products and it's not going directly to the landfill, and you're still ensuring that your item is neatly packaged. Let's talk about missing parts. I do sell Lego online, and this is a more common problem for Bricklink sellers. You're packing an order, the buyer gets it, and then they're like, hey, I'm missing a couple parts. Whether they're missing a couple parts from a Lego set with 1,000 parts or they're missing a couple parts from a 300 part order, it's still missing parts. And this could happen to anybody, not just Lego salesmen. It could happen to anybody that sells anything online, because sometimes people might buy from your eBay store and they say, oh, well, I want this, but this person also has these 2 cool items. I'll buy those. And then you only put 2 out of the 3 in that they purchased. It can happen to anybody. And the best solution for this, I find, is printing your invoice and creating checkboxes. On Bricklink, it offers checkboxes where you can simply click it off as you go, and then you can look at that at the end of your order and say, hey, I did pull everything here. Perfect. You can always print a PDF for any page that you're selling on, whether it's Mercari, eBay, anywhere. Print the invoice or save it as a PDF and mark it off digitally. I've made that mistake many times as a seller, and it has cost me money. It is what it is, but right now, by using checkboxes, I've had very minimal mistakes in this area of missing parts and having an incomplete order or an incomplete set. I recommend being organized and checking off your invoice. It will greatly help you prevent errors and mistakes and save you more of your money that you're preciously making in sales. Talking about missing parts lets me lead into inventory being incorrect, or misplaced inventory, or listed items that you don't have or don't exist. Keep organized inventory. I have had this mistake myself where somebody purchased something and a bunch of other parts from me, and then I realized, hey, I don't have this part. Sometimes it is the case where people, they purchase a large order and that was 1 out of 10 to 20 parts and they don't really care. You could refund them for that and still send their order. That's perfect. That's great when that happens. However, there have been times where somebody clearly, wanted this part and I searched for it and it doesn't exist and I don't know. Sometimes I've had the issue where I sold something and it got re-uploaded. I don't know how. That's a whole nother topic for another day, but pretty much keeping an organized inventory and knowing what you have listed for sale is better, because the last thing you want to do is sell something, reach out and say, hey, I'm sorry, I don't have this item. Now you're refunding somebody, and now they're most likely not coming back to your store because they know, hey, it's not that well organized. Always keep an organized inventory. The 5th mistake I have is sending orders to the incorrect customers. Yes, I've done this mistake where I've put a label on for Jeff and sent it to Larry, and I put a label on for Larry and sent it to Jeff. That happens. You might be packing a bunch of orders, you're printing labels and you're slapping things on the packages and you're mailing them out. Overall, when this happens, there are some solutions. You did make a mistake, it will cost you some money. The first step, what I like to do is reach out to these customers. Usually they'll reach out to me and say, one of them will say, hey, I received this is not my order. And then that's when you realize, oh, I sent you so-and-so's order, which means I probably sent your order to them. What I like to do then is reach out to both of them and I see if they are willing to accept the correct sender's address, and they'll mail a label for me. I could send them money on PayPal, they'll print a label and they'll send it out for me, and vice versa. If both of the customers do that, it's perfect, because then they're not sending it back to me and then I'm not sending it back out to them, which means that would be 3 labels. First label is going to the customer. They realize, hey, this isn't the right package. They purchase a label, send it back to me. That's 2 labels right now. And then now I have to buy a 3rd label to send it to the correct person, and you're paying for all those labels. This person's not going to mail you it back for free. I doubt they would. And if you're talking about large packages, this can get very pricey. Hopefully, with me, in my case, the first time it happened, it was very small packages and it was a simple fix. And sure, I lost some money, but I didn't lose a whole ton of money because they were smaller packages and only cost, a couple dollars to send. Don't make that mistake of sending to the wrong customers. Always be organized and, write things on the package. Don't write exactly what the contents are, but write the person's name. And that way, when you print a label, you can put it over their name and you know that it's their package. This now leads me into incorrect shipping addresses. This is problem number 6. It's a mistake I've had where I have sent orders to somebody and the address wasn't verified, and or I modified the address and forgot to change it back. Do not modify a customer's address to get a price quote. Use United States Postal Service shipping calculator, use other online calculators, or simply create a new label through ShipStation. It's a great feature. I recently figured that out, and now I'm not modifying orders. The reason you don't want to modify orders is because sometimes things save, and then you might be packing orders and then mailing things out, and before you realize it, you never changed the address back to their original sender's address. And if an address says it is not verified, it is safer to hold the package, reach out to that customer and say, hey, your address says it's not verified. What should we do about this? Do you want me to send it? How should I move forward? Sometimes it's just something as simple as, it says street instead of an abbreviation where ST. A lot of things are weird sometimes with this service. However, it's always better to know that this address exists. Always, you can look up the address on Google and see, does it come up as an actual property or is it a random address that doesn't exist? Always check the address. If it says it's not verified, hold the package, reach out to your customer. They could wait a couple days. It's better to wait and be positive and correct about it than to send it and then have to deal with all this stress and rework to get this package back and send it to them in the correct address. Mistake number 7 that you do not want to do is do not mail any order unless you have payment in hand. You don't necessarily need cash in hand, but you do want to know that that money is deposited in your account and available on whether it's PayPal, Venmo, or whatever system you use, or direct deposit into your bank account. This usually isn't a problem today with how things are paid for. You can see that your money is there on eBay, you can see your money is there on PayPal, and you're ready to ship the item. However, I have had a few times where I went to mail something and the payment said pending, and I was very confused because on Bricklink, it would mark my order as paid. This person paid through the paying section on PayPal. However, sometimes they're paying through like a money order, a check, or some other forms of payments that I'm not really entirely familiar with. However, all I know is that some payments do take a few days to process. Even though PayPal lets them go through, it still says pending, and you don't send anything until that payment is approved and in your account. I haven't made this mistake. I almost have made this mistake, but I held the package and maybe nothing would happen. You mail it out and you still get the payment approved and it's good. However, in the off chance you mail a package, then the money gets, let's say a check gets bounced or something, and then that money isn't in your PayPal, and now you already mailed the package. Now you have to go through the whole problem resolution center, file a claim and a dispute and so forth, and it just headaches. Every time I hear like dispute or file a claim, it's just so frustrating, and I don't want you to have to be in the situations I've been in. I've learned through all these mistakes through the many years of having an online store, selling both on eBay, Bricklink, and Mercari and other websites. Don't make these mistakes, please. All right, moving on to mistake number 8. Mistake number 8 is do not mail anything without tracking. It is very rare that this would happen in today's day and age because everything has a tracking number. However, if it doesn't have a tracking number, pay to have one. It's better to have a tracking number. That way you can feel comfortable and know, hey, I can see where this package is, I can see when it's delivered, and you're not dealing with it's his word over my word. I will only ever send something without a tracking number if it is a small sticker sheet or a very small pamphlet or something that I can send in an envelope, put a couple stamps on it, and usually I haven't had a problem with that. However, sometimes I debate, is it worth it? If it's under a certain cost threshold, if we're talking less than $5, that's fine. But as the price goes up, that's when you want to know, okay, I want tracking. And also as price goes up, then we talk about insurance. And insurance is a whole other thing that I'll get into right at the end of mistake 10. Moving on, mistake number 9. Mistake number 9, lost packages. We've all been there. Hopefully not, but most of us have probably been there with, losing a package that you purchased something or losing a package as a seller. I've lost packages in every way, shape, and form. Losing packages sucks, and there's a few things you could do to get around it. Number 1, again, tracking numbers. They're very important. Number 2, when I'm printing a label, I'm making sure that everything is secure on that package, and I actually put a piece of tape over the barcode. This helps me feel a little more comfortable because I know if that label if it begins to be torn off, even if it rips, that barcode should still be on my package. And if the barcode's still there, they can scan it, look up and see, okay, what's the address it's going to, and they can still send it on its way. If you don't have that protection there, then sometimes the label could just get peeled off in a conveyor belt or something, and it's gone. And now they just have a box and they don't know where it's going, who it's from, what's inside, and that's how it disappears. Don't let that happen to you. Do the safe method of the tape over it, and make sure when you have boxes or envelopes, tape them and seal any edges that might get caught on something. It's better to use additional tape, even though, we all don't want to use so many materials, we don't want to waste anything, but it is better to use a little more tape and secure something versus not, and then having it get lost and destroyed. That's my 2 cents. Let me know what you think in the comments. Finally, we are at mistake number 10. What's it going to be? Theft. Theft is also terrible. Theft happens, and there's a few things you could do to prevent it. I've had theft where, and scams is a whole nother topic, but theft in general, I'm talking about theft where a package you mail gets swiped or vice versa, a package you're receiving. Things you could do to prevent that: don't write the package contents on the package. If it has a really cool Lego set in it, don't write that Lego set because somebody might swipe it. Now, not everybody's geared in certain areas, but even, if you're mailing like a diamond ring, you wouldn't write, 24 karat gold diamond ring on here, baby. Like, no, we don't write that. And even when I have customs forms, I have had a package swiped before because I wrote, hey, it has 20 of this figure in it. Somebody knows that's a quick resale, it's a quick money, and it was in a small package that they can simply grab. When I do customs forms anymore, I simply write, toy parts, toy kit. I'm not being inaccurate. I'm writing that, I'm putting the correct HS code and so forth, and it's still valid. They can always open that package, verify the contents, and send it on its way when it gets to the customs facilities. But I find that, I've even received orders that I purchased that will write right on it what it is, and I'm just like, oh geez, I'm happy nobody took this, and maybe that's just me, but today I feel like theft is going up with packages. We're seeing more things out there where, forged pirates and so forth. Try and be safer, and that's something simple. Do not write on the package what's inside. And lastly, with theft, if you are very worried about something or nervous, the best solution is insurance. Insurance is great because it protects you and them, and then you can send something and comfortably know that, hey, if something happens to it, I'm insured and they're insured. And if you want to learn more about insurance, check out this video. This video will be very helpful, and I talk about insurance for all online sales, and I talk a bit about Bricklink as well. You can skip around to the chapters, but that's a great video. Thank you for checking out this video. If you found it helpful, please give me a like and subscribe if you want to see more content that's helpful for online sales, Bricklink, or Lego related content.
Lego, my Jameso.